r/AskReddit. Who was your saddest celebrity encounter? Went and saw Steve-O do his stand-up tour. After his show, he said he would meet everybody there. We waited in line, and he was being super nice, laughing and taking pictures with everyone. Right before we got to the stage, some fat redneck asshole told him that he was funnier back when he was on drugs. It killed his whole vibe. When we got to him, he just took a picture with us and said thanks for coming. But he was clearly in a bad mood. I don't blame him at all. He was still extremely nice, but he was clearly irritated. It was cool that he still met us and took a picture with us though. Seemed like a really cool dude. How could you be such an insensitive asshole to even think of saying that? The guy has done well to get himself back on the straight and narrow, and was even nice enough to wait for everybody and have a chat with all his fans, which I heard he does on a regular basis, just for some fat prick to grill him for not being on drugs anymore. The sad thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if that's not the first time he's heard it. I think lots of people don't recognize celebrities as actual humans who have their own feelings and emotions. They think they are just talking to a TV screen and don't care about the impact their words might have. A few years back, Robin Williams was having breakfast at my cafe and was sitting next to a little girl who clearly recognized his voice but had no idea who he was and was too shy to make eye contact with a stranger. So Robin pulled his sleeve down over his hand to make a puppet and talked to her with a silly voice through it. The only sad part is thinking back on how sweet that was. Edit. Oh my gosh. The best part of this thread is that so many people have amazing stories of their own about him to share. Thank you, Reddit. This is like the 4th or 5th different anecdote I've read where Robin Williams is an awesome human being to strangers. You have to wonder if his sadness compelled him to try and bring others joy. Those who suffer depression quite often try to make others smile, because we don't want anyone to feel the pain we feel. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. I'd wish them death before how bad it can be at times. I met Georgia R. Martin at the Blaze Pizza in Evanston a couple of months back when he was in town to accept an award from Northwestern University. At the time, I was listening to the audiobook of A Clash of Kings, and he very excitedly told me, "You've got a ways to go to catch up." When I told him that I've already read what he's published 3 times and am listening to the audiobook as a new way to experience the story, he just kind of deflated. He let out a big sigh and just said, "Yeah, I need to finish the next book. People won't stop bothering me about it." Poor GRRM. I know people have plenty of reasons to be frustrated with him for not having Winds finished yet, but people seem to act like it's easy to write these books and the only reason it's not done yet is because he procrastinates. Some people are so rude about it too. GRRM is obviously upset he's taking so long to finish, and I wish people would be more positive instead of bashing him about it. I don't care when we finishes, and really the only reason I hope that he finishes is for his sake. He deserves to write the final lines of his magnum opus. He's achieved something few authors ever do, and it is insanely admirable. I went to school with someone who wasn't a celebrity at the time, who had celebrity parents. She had your typical teenage celebrity crush on an actor. Her mom started dating him and she got upset and shaved her head. I knew some kids whose parents were A-list actors as well. They were together for a while as far as celebrity marriages go, but then when they broke up the dad started dating supermodels and then Scarlett Johansson. Their oldest daughter, I was more friends with the son. Didn't know her, was almost Scarlett's age by then. Can't imagine how that felt. Though I actually think she is hotter than Scarlett. Was this Dylan Penn? Betty White. It was right after the Golden Girls and Golden Palace had ended. Her career was not in the best place at the time. I was at the Beverly Center in Los Angeles and saw a poster promoting Betty White signing her latest book about how much she loves animals. I liked the Golden Girls, so I thought I would swing by the bookstore to take a gander at Betty White. It was so sad. I'll always remember she was sitting alone at a big table with a stack of books in front of her. People were in the bookstore shopping but no one was buying her book or really acknowledging her. She just sat there, pen in hand, waiting. She would occasionally wipe off some imaginary dust to look busy. I'm getting the chills just remembering it. Of course. I was such a self-involved college kid that I just stared at her from far away. I should have just gone up and talked to her. People who expect other people to show up, only to get disappointed when nobody does, are my number one heartstring puller. It's the saddest thing in the world. Especially when it's Betty White, who seems like the sweetest old lady. It's why the concept of a birthday party never sat right with me. I just think it's duck-ed he don't answer fans. If he didn't wanna talk to me outside his concert, he didn't have to. But he colder signed an autograph for Matthew. That's my little brother, man. He's only 6 years old. We waited in the blistering cold for him. 4 hours and he just said, "No. Gold virginity pop cheers." You should write him a series of rambling letters and then kidnap your pregnant girlfriend. Lock her in a car and drive you both off a bridge before he can reply. Even after so many years. That song still makes me sad. DMX very graciously held a door open for me recently. It was a nice encounter until I saw in the news the next day that he had been found unconscious in the parking lot later that evening. Sounds like X can give it. But he can't take it. X gonna open for ya. Don't have to open doors on ya own, X gonna hold it for ya. Met Vince Vaughn in a bar in Hollywood. He was with his entourage, or whatever, and had quite a few drinks. He hit on a girl friend of mine, and I was amazed to see her totally blow him off. Not that she should have gone for it, but it was pretty incredible to see a multi-millionaire movie star get rejected by an accountant. Edit. I use the term blow him off as it is used in the US, which means to reject someone's advances without giving it a second thought. So, yes. She rejected VV and knew full well who he was and all that. Should probably add that she wasn't exactly the most selective person when it comes to hooking up with guys. No judgment here, but that just made the whole thing even more amusing. Accountants have a sixth sense about people who are irresponsible with money. I see dead people. Well, I once wanted to get Daryl Hannah's autograph for my friend who had been crushing on her since forever. I couldn't summon up my courage to approach her directly. So I just asked the dude sitting next to her. He put me off very politely. I went back to my friends empty-handed and was complimentary of Mr. Nobody's manners. They told me I'd just asked JFK Jr. for Daryl's autograph. Edit. I seem to have confused some folks for playing fast and loose with the meaning of sad. I meant that the encounter made me out to be pretty lame. Lame for being too intimidated to just be direct and ask her. And for being so dopey I didn't even realize that the person I had the guts to ask was, in his own way, just as famous. Becomes even sadder in retrospect. If he had gotten the autograph, he wouldn't have crashed. That's exactly how karma works. My brother met Gene Simmons backstage at a show he was playing in. Gene complimented my brother highly on his guitar playing, but then said too bad you'll never make it, and just walked away. Gene Simmons is a douchebag. My dad ran into him in some bar in Baltimore in the very late 70s after a show. My dad wasn't a huge Kiss fan, but appreciated their music, and told Gene something along the lines of awesome concert. Thanks for the show. Gene looked at my dad, and then promptly replied, I hope the next time you're sucking as to impress someone, you pucker more, and then walked off. My dad was pissed and went to tell his two friends he was with it was time to go. And the bartender stopped them on the way out. Gene and his entourage told the bartender my dad was paying for their drinks and left already. Cost my dad almost $100 for their alcohol. They ditched him with paying. So growing up, every time something with Kiss came on, my dad would relate this story and rant about how Gene Simmons can suck and go die somewhere. I was tired of hearing about it. By the time I was 14 or 15. Cost my dad almost $100. Straight up retarded that he paid. I would have told them to duck right off. Met Samuel L. Jackson at a celebrity golf pro-am. Shook his hand after I found his ball in the rough and asked him to sign my wallet, the one that says bad mother ducker I bought off eBay since I love Pulp Fiction so much. Had the marker and all. He just said no chance. That feeling of disappointment will be forever with me. Edit. Come to think of it, the same day he was sitting on one of the tee boxes waiting to tee off, a little girl ran under the spectator robe. He saw her coming from say 40 yards away, raised his hand and pointed at her, and security ran over and removed her back to her parents. This is very disappointing. Of all the autographs, you think he'd be most happy to sign this one. Some celebrities hate signing things for fans because they wind up on eBay. Maybe he has a history of people taking it like that and selling it, and that pisses him off. IDK. But I've heard for the most part he's a decent guy. Not great, but decent. I usually give celebrities who refuse to sign autographs the benefit of the doubt until I hear more than just one story. Edit. Reading some of these comments, I hadn't realized Op was literally asking for an autograph from an avid golfer during a golf tournament. I really like the analogy someone else below used. That's like running into the field in between plays of a football game and asking for an autograph. Met Craig Ferguson in a green room. It wasn't sad. He was really friendly, but was talking with a mouthful of turkey the whole time. I couldn't understand a damn thing. Craig Ferguson was talking with a mouthful of turkey the whole time. No, he's just Scottish. It's an easy mistake to make. As Craig would say. Much the same. Actually. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.